Good afternoon and welcome to this webinar. Um, it's been a practice of the CENIT-KEONYS management team to exchange and share information with its partners and business associates and clients, not just at the end of the year, but throughout the year in different types of communication. And we wanted to maintain this tradition even in times of travel restrictions. And so we've decided to establish this virtual format. So welcome to our webinar on business continuity and innovation leadership, focused specifically on PLM transformation in times of coronavirus pandemic. Today we have the opportunity to have with us the CEO of the CENIT Group, Kurt Bengal, as well as the management team of our PLM business unit for the SO systems. So I'd like to start with a question to Kurt. Kurt, the CENIT Group is a medium-sized company with about 800 employees. How has CENIT experienced and navigated the crisis so far, and where do we stand today?
So, Alain, I think it's a good question. I think, like all other companies, we had no experience with such a crisis. But to be honest, we learn month by month, and the most important thing for us was to secure our employees and to retain the staff. Since we have companies in 9 countries, so we may have had to react differently with the help of the different government programs, such as short-time work in Germany and also in France. I think we have been able to manage this well so far. In other words, we have tried to keep the money together. But on the other hand, at the same time, however, we also decided not to stop some of our planned investments in order to emerge from this crisis stronger than before. And these investments are further development of own software components. And also we started and continued to open our subsidiary in China.
Thank you, Kurt. Yeah, it's been a very trying time, an interesting time for all of us over the last few months. Is there a moment that you remember the most, or the strongest in your mind from this crisis?
Yes, of course I do. So I remember especially the 10th of March very well, because on that day we had decided to send all our employees worldwide to their home offices. It was a strange feeling to walk through the empty office at our headquarters one day later, to be honest. But somehow it also made me proud that our existing infrastructure gave us everything we had needed to access the most important systems from outside, and such short notice that we had virtually no downtime. And I think the collaboration with these social cooperation platforms or the changed form of online collaboration will continue also after the crisis. A lot of this new normality will be continued, I think.
Thank you very much, Kurt. I'd like to turn to Martin Thiel. Martin Thiel is in charge of our worldwide business unit for the SO System Solutions at the CENIT Group. So Martin, what's been happening on the customer side in the last few months?
Thanks, Alain, for that question. Good afternoon to everybody. We had very quickly activated our own business continuity plans, as Kurt mentioned before. So meaning we, as organization, were able to operate and support our business, our customers worldwide within 24 hours, again, from a home office infrastructure. We have responsibility for the high availability of business critical processes and the corresponding data, mainly in product creation processes at many customers worldwide, and very high service levels apply here. And it was for us pretty important that that we are able to support these customers pretty perfect and that run. And I was very pleased that everything really worked in smoothly here. Thus, we were able to immediately also focus on those customers without an AMS contract, that special contract, and help them to get their development teams up and running again in a partially global home office environment, which was new for most of our customers. And these architectures and processes for product creation were then gradually optimized in terms of performance and security. And in many companies, they are now designed for long-term operation. And I think that we will see that customers will more and more rely on that infrastructure. After this, let's call it first hot phase, we have seen that the innovators amongst our customers have made targeted use of the lockdown phase already to initiate new projects to eliminate immediately recognized weaknesses in sense of continuous improvement on the one hand side, or to continue long-term with their long-term roadmap in terms of business process transformation projects.
Very interesting. Could you give us some examples of initiatives of what these innovators are launching?
Yes, for sure. Kurt just mentioned the importance of social collaboration platform for us, for CENIT. Our customers have the same need for an online collaboration environment, not only to be able to work perfectly with their employees in their home offices and have all necessary information and documents highly available, the correct version, but also to be able to integrate their external resources, own suppliers, supply chain, as well as in the other direction, meaning the online collaboration with their own customers. And we should maybe also have in mind that after the first lockdown, when the restart of OEMs was really slowed down by broken supply chains, and we made also the experience that we even had companies among our customer base that we were not able to reach for a couple of weeks, which is clearly no-go. And what we see is that the cards in the global supply chains are currently being remixed, and that maybe also in terms of flexibilization in the production system. So we see a clear trend that, for example, big automotive OEMs are pushing their customers for the implementation of MES systems. That is clearly something we can see. A second trend, long story short, is also all the initiatives along the online collaboration, which are clearly a trend in our customer base in the recent months, and not only with the innovators, but meanwhile clearly also with so-called fast followers.
Thank you very much, Martin. I'd like to address the next question to Martin Grunau. Martin Grunau is the CEO of KEONYS, which is the CENIT brand operating in France, Belgium, and the Netherlands. Martin, France was one of the countries that was very affected by the lockdown. How can an organization implement projects for customers during this time, as described by Martin Thiel earlier?
Yes, thank you, Alain. Yes, we had to reinvent and adapt ourselves very quickly. And this is concerning the way that we engage with our customers. It addresses our offers and also the way that we function internally, as Kurt Benger, our CEO, mentioned already in the introduction. Concerning our offers, fortunately, we had already defined out-of-the-box solutions for our customers. For example, on how to onboard cloud customers from remote sites. It's a service offering we call Ready for Cloud. And these out-of-the-box simplifications for our customer engagements in the cloud are also applicable not only for the cloud installations and cloud approaches, but also for what we call the hosted on-premise solutions. We did have to transform the way that we are running workshops, as you can imagine, or how we engage with our customers in their business process analysis, for example. We call this CDAs, an analysis that we're providing. Or the training offers, for example, we had to adjust them, you know, how to enable ourselves to deliver very quickly online remote trainings and deliver them to the customer. So this experience, in fact, has been really quite a positive one. Traditionally, if we look at our support activities, our application management services, they have already been in the past provided in a remote way to a large extent. So this is probably the domain where the least changes were necessary. But especially in the initial concept phases, where up to now we've traditionally worked face-to-face with our customers in workshops or on client sites, for example, we did have to adapt. We should not forget one thing, and I think this is certainly one of the bigger challenges for all of us as we're here in this meeting. All PLM projects are always also transformation projects of people and their habits, and we must take this into account when planning with, you know, service deliveries that are in a remote format. So maybe I can, you know, if I had to summarize, I would say as part of our KEONYS company transformation, we're transforming ourselves from a trusted advisor to a digital trusted advisor using online collaboration environments.
Thank you, Martin. You mentioned cloud customers. How do you assess the resilience of those customers in this context?
Of course, this was a first major stress test for our customers who have already, you know, shifted their product development processes to the cloud with us during the last years. But if we look at these customers, business continuity was not that much of an issue for them. They were and are reassured by the performance of this decentralized access to the infrastructure from their home offices. The information is highly available. It's online, hence it's available and easily accessible at all times. And it's been proven to be very secure.
Thank you very much, Martin. Well, this is a perfect segue because we have a guest star today, one of our customers. And so I would like to introduce Jessica Cohen, who's the digital mockup leader at Flying Whales. Flying Whales is a company that took up the challenge of designing an airship for more ecological and economical transport with the development of the LCA60T product. They're really a pioneer in this field for transporting wood in large industrial parts in regions of the world that don't really have any infrastructure. This French company chose the latest digital technologies to carry out such a large-scale project, and the Soul Systems 3D Experience Cloud platform has become its reference system based on a CDA methodology that CENIT-KEONYS brought to the table. Jessica, welcome, and thank you for agreeing to participate. Can you briefly explain the Flying Whales project and its main challenges?
Yeah, so as you mentioned, we're developing the LCA60T. So it's a rigid airship for point-to-point cargo transport of heavy or oversized loads. At the same time, we're also developing an operational company that'll operate the LCA60Ts and manage 150 airships and their bases on 3 continents. So the size of this aircraft represents a huge technical challenge for us and pushes us to innovate on every front, especially in our assembly methods. And we have a real commitment to make the world more accessible and minimize our environmental impact. So we really strive to develop a modern transport solution that responds to the challenges of our time.
So Jessica, in the beginning of this year, KEONYS performed a company digital assessment, or CDA, with Flying Whales. Can you tell us a bit more about the context and motivations which led you to adopt this approach?
Yeah, sure. So the Flying Whales, we've taken up a strategy of virtual prototyping that we base around the digital mockup So in doing so, we want to ensure a high quality and state-of-the-art aircraft every step of the way. The motivation behind the CDA then was to identify our needs, optimize our working methods, and define tangible timelines based on our priorities. So our expectation was to know at the end how to implement our effective digital mock-up environment, a more collaborative and structured way of working, all the tools and processes that meet the certification authorities' requirements, and also integrating all of our industrial and technological partners.
Great. And what were the key takeaways through the CDA process?
So we really identified themes that characterize our priorities, and two really stood out to me, at least, collaboration and quality. So based on that, we decided that the first stage of our PLM deployment would focus on the creation of a configurable product structure as a working basis. And in doing so, we can work collaboratively, but in a controlled way, and strike that balance between meeting our certification standards and having flexibility and agility.
And how did you find the collaboration between Flying Whales and KEONYS?
We really worked together in a collaborative manner from the beginning, and CENIT-KEONYS really accompanied us every step of the way and gathered all the inputs and needs from all disciplines at Flying Whales, which really made the team feel empowered and heard and confident that their needs would be addressed. And then together, we built a feasible roadmap for the deployment based on our needs and development priorities.
So I know we managed to get the project following the CDA underway even during the pandemic. What's the current status and the next steps?
Yeah, so despite the pandemic and all of the uncertainty in the world, we got the deployment underway, and it's on track for the end of the year for the first phase. And in parallel, the engineering team at Flying Whales is meeting our defined development milestones and expanding the industrial phase of the program. In July, we announced the location of the final assembly line in La Ruscade, north of Bordeaux in France, and construction will begin in the coming months. So we've really been working at the same time as the technical development on reinforcing the market awareness of what will be the flagship of 21st century aerospace.
Well, it's a very exciting project, and we're really happy at KEONYS CENIT to be supporting you on this project. Thank you very much, Jessica.
Thank you.
I would like to turn to Ralph Hohmann. Ralph is the Director of Sales for 3DS PLM in Germany. Ralph, as a sales director in Germany and Austria, it sounds like you're probably very familiar with the automotive industry challenges. Can you share some of the key trends with us?
Yes, sure. Thank you, Alain. The former mentioned topics of online collaboration and cloud as a megatrend are dominant in the automotive industry. However, we should not forget that even before the COVID-19 pandemic, a major transformation in the automotive industry had begun. The so-called Dieselgate, or in a positive manner, the clean mobility trend, has already created a very high pressure for transformation in the industry before the corona pandemic crisis, and not only for companies in the powertrain sector. More lightweight, sustainable, and smarter products, meaning many customers reinvent their products in that sense, and this is not only valid for automotive industry, but industrial equipment or consumer goods in the same way.
Can you give us some examples of business initiatives that your customers are initiating to master these challenges, and how we can support?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, first, there's this word smartification. Smartification of products, for example, clearly requests a digital continuity in product creation process. And in the end, a complete digital description of cyber-physical products. We as CENIT advise and support our customers with best practices and to-end process understanding to build their virtual twin and to simulate all aspects of products, process, and system. And the front loading of simulation in the process is currently in high demand and a trend and growth topic. So bottom line, we see investments of our customers to improve their ability to manage complexity and take optimized early decisions based on end-to-end impact analysis throughout the entire product lifecycle.
Thank you, Ralph. I'd like now to address a question to Tom. Tom, you're Ralph's counterpart for the KEONYS part of the group, meaning you're in charge of sales in France and Benelux. Would you like to complement Ralph's view?
Yeah, sure, Alain, thanks. In addition to the before mentioned initiatives by my colleague Ralph that are more innovation driven, we see a clear trend towards initiatives aimed at reducing OPEX. Starting with product modernization and additive manufacturing strategies up to production planning, we see many projects within our customer base. The ability to respond faster to individual customer requirements is improved, meaning flexibility. So the production of single pieces and customized quantities become more profitable. So we see that the making of production more flexible offers opportunities for diversification in addition to reduced OPEX. And we have customers who quickly switched to new products during the COVID-19 lockdown.
That's really interesting. Do you have an example of this flexibility or improved flexibility?
Yes, Alain. I remember a customer that was implementing 3D printing of spare parts with the 3D Experience platform. On top, they decided not only to print the spare parts, but to print the parts in the country where they are needed, instead of producing them and shipping them from a central production or a storage facility. So in the end, not only is the production of spare parts cheaper, since the parts are no longer shipped to other countries, but also you have tax and shipping costs have been reduced. So this was actually a good example.
And not to mention that it's also a much greener way to deliver the parts. So that's a great example.
Absolutely.
I'd like to finish our round trip of Europe with Alfonso. Alfonso is the managing director of CENIT Switzerland, a country that's really leading the Global Innovation Index ranking since many years. Do you see that these kinds of business initiatives with your Swiss customers as well, Alfonso?
Hello, Alain. Hello to everybody. Alain, thank you very much for this opportunity to speak about Switzerland. Tom gave us a good example how new technology but also change process can improve your business model and disrupt traditional market. And to your question, as you might know, Switzerland is always an innovative country. Our business in Switzerland is more than 70% driven by cloud and 3D Experience platform portfolio already. And this is the highest portfolio in all CENIT Group countries. I believe Swiss companies are more open to change and willing to invest early in new technologies to gain a competitive lead. So digitalization and usage of cloud technology in product development process is not anymore a question, but a given, especially on this difficult time.
Thank you, Alfonso. I'd like to continue our virtual trip and do a virtual crossing of the Atlantic and direct the next question to Reinhard. Reinhard is in charge of our PLM business for CENIT in North America. What experiences would you like to share with us from that side of the world, Reinhard?
Thank you, Alain. Maybe let me first pick up on what Ralph just said about the challenges in the automotive industry in Germany. I think that's something we can very well relate to here in the US as well. We see kind of equivalent scenario. What we also see is a somewhat similar situation in the US aerospace industry, with a tremendous pressure on suppliers and a push for transformation in the supply chain. Just think about the problems around Boeing 737 program and the disruption of the commercial aircraft market due to the pandemic. On a positive note, we are seeing sustained activities and resilience in the automotive e-vehicle segment and other industries, for example, the medtech industry. For our customers there, global collaboration environments, early use of simulation, systems engineering, and smart manufacturing are equally important. I'd like to highlight one focus topic for us as a group and CENIT North America in particular. That's actually based on our long-term partnership with Dassault Systems and SAP. So through that partnership, we have come to a process-driven approach for platform integrations. End-to-end cross-platform integration is really extremely important in business processes, regardless of whether customers work in the cloud or on premises. And these integration initiatives and projects are truly at the heart of the digital transformation and product creation processes. So with that, I hand it back to you, Alain.
Thank you very much, Reinhard. That was a nice closure of the circle, I would say, with this SAP topic. Martin, I'm going to go back to Martin Thiel now. So we had a very nice round trip through your global business unit, and we see that customers face similar challenges. It would be nice, however, for our customers, or how would they be able to get an insight in the different solutions that we've been talking about?
Thanks for that prepared question, Alain. And the answer, you can already read it on the screen. So for sure, we have something more to add. And we kindly would like to draw your attention to our virtual innovation days that we plan to do on 23rd of March, where we will demonstrate all technologies and solutions basically driven by the 3D experience portfolio of Dassault Systems, and where we will for sure try to show you all the benefits that you could reach with that. So that is a nice mix of industry solutions on the one hand side that we combine also with, and you heard that sometimes during today's session also, that out of the box or best practice driven approach, where we bundled services to, let's say, develop customers to the stage of ready to collaborate or ready to engineer, ready to simulate, ready to integrate. And that is really step-by-step approach, best practices approach, how to really reach fast with quick wins the right level. And we would be pleased if you and your employees would register, and we could demonstrate you the full range and scope of our common portfolio as a leading Dassault Systems partner.
Thank you very much, Martin. And I'll direct my last question back to Kurt. So Kurt, your international team has given us a very nice overview about how CENIT and KEONYS experts are able to support both digital transformation of business processes and business continuity for our customers. Do you see any success among those companies that have already gone down this transformation road in the last few months?
Yeah, Alain, I think the coronavirus crisis we are currently going through also highlights the good health of companies that had already started their digital transformation. So they have absorbed the crisis, in my point of view, much better because their activity has never stopped. Companies' digitalization is no longer an option. It's absolutely essential to support a sustainable industry.
Great, thank you very much, Kurt. I think that concludes our round of questions, of panelist questions, I should say. I'd like to thank the team, and for the sake of completeness, I should mention that we could have also, but we didn't have enough time to give a slot to our other national companies, for example, Romania, Belgium, Netherlands, Japan, or China. What I propose now is that we move to questions. The first question I have is, can I start with the solutions on-premise? Can I start with the Dassault solutions on-premise today and migrate to the cloud in the future easily when we make a strategic decision to move entirely to the cloud? And this question I would like to address to Martin Grunau.
Well, we have situations today where we exchange with our customers on exactly this type of need or this type of reflection. Very often, customers do come from an on-premise environment. They're more comfortable with this kind of an architecture and infrastructure. Yet they don't want to lose out on some of the benefits that they can have through the 3D Experience platform. So they may start on-premise, and then they say they would like to keep the option open to move to a cloud later on. So I'm not surprised by this question. The answer is clearly yes. Yes, we can move customers from on-premise to an on-cloud environment. Where customers who are implementing these solutions on-premise already, we can reuse the same data models and move them over to the cloud in a relatively lean fashion. So this is absolutely possible. Yes.
Thank you, Martin. I have another question, and I'll target that one to the innovative country, Switzerland. So there are customers that in the past were never thinking about the cloud, and now with the COVID situation, they are starting to change their minds. Based on your experience, Alfonso, what are the motivations for this?
Thank you, Alain. Very easy, save cost. But you know that today, especially in the PLM world, but in the digitalization, if you change releases from one software to the another, you need to have a lot of IT environment, IT specialists, IT infrastructure, hardware. You need to check the releases and so on. And these can cost a lot of money. And of course, a lot of customers in the past were not thinking about that like today. With the COVID, they're thinking more and more how we can save cost. And this is also an opportunity to go to the cloud. On top of that, what we have also remarked that in the past, there were a lot of companies wanted to customize their technology, which also cost a lot of money. And these companies are starting to think, I would like to be out of the box. And also these with the cloud can reduce cost, and the cloud helps that because you only configure the technology and don't really customize anymore, which is again a big reduction of that.
Thank you, Alfonso. I have another question, which is, we have heard a lot about cloud today. What are the integration possibilities with the cloud? And I think I'll push that one to Martin Thiel.
Thanks for that one. That's a good one. That's a good question, Alain. For sure, with what we made as a learning or finding within that cloud environment or cloud solution over the last couple of years since availability, we saw that many customers that successfully started with the cloud were simply startups without any brownfield, so-called brownfield, but they could really start to implement their processes in a greenfield. And yes, that is clearly the critical point so far, that the end-to-end integration of a cloud business process is not easy. Since a couple of weeks now, we do have the availability of the so-called enterprise integration framework. That is a very big step into the right direction, meaning we now have the first use cases available. With that possibility, we are able to integrate already a lot of things. I would say in the scope of an EBOM, and from what we know, and that is always subject of the SO to do the announcements there. But as far as we see the market, the next functional drop I expected somewhere in Q1, that we then could cover also the downstream processes. maybe the question is too complex to answer it right now in completeness, but the answer is simply we are at the right time now to start discussions there, and I'm pretty confident that during first half of next year we will have all the full integrations available that we need to have an end-to-end business process coverage in terms of product creation processes. So whoever asked that question invited to contact us directly, and we will disclose whatever we know. Yeah.
Thank you, Martin. I have a question regarding the flying whales presentation. The question is you mentioned that your first priority is implementing the digital mock-up. Are you also implementing any of the business platform modules of 3D Experience, or are you focusing only on the CAD solution?
So, yeah, I mean, for us, we don't see the 3D Experience platform as a purely CAD management tool. We're also implementing other functionalities. We use the 3D Swim community to exchange with KEONYS and with Dassault Systèmes directly. And we look to deploy it further than just pure CAD management, for sure.
Thank you, Jessica. The next question is about platform integration between 3D Experience and SAP, and more specifically, the question is, we are planning to implement Delmia for manufacturing process planning, but we're using SAP for production scheduling. Does your platform integration support an integrated business process for this scenario? And I'll direct this to Reinhard because I know he's quite knowledgeable on this topic.
Yeah, thank you, Alain. Actually, a great question. I mean, we've seen this requirement quite a bit in our customer base. Actually, we have just been implementing exactly this scenario with one of our clients here in the US in the aerospace industry, and it's a very valid scenario. I think Delmia and the manufacturing process planning solution has really been pushing the boundaries. It's a very powerful solution set to do manufacturing process planning, and the integration with the SAP production scheduling makes a very meaningful business processes, and that's exactly what our integration is built for. So these are the types of scenarios we work with our customers, and as I said, we've just exactly implemented that scenario a couple of months ago.
Thank you, Reinhard. I have another question. We're using CATIA V5 and we're thinking about the new DS-PLM platform. Does our more mature V5 technology work with the latest DS-PLM platform? And Martin Grunau, maybe you can take that one.
Yes, Alain. So, in fact, the platform, when we talk about the 3D Experience platform, it is not a monolithic environment that only works with the same software levels of all the different Dassault Systèmes brands as of today. But in fact, it has been designed through a strategy that's called Power By. This Power By architecture allows you to integrate notably older CATIA releases like V5 CATIA releases and to connect this directly into the platform. So in other words, the V5 becomes an integral part and is seamlessly integrated really in the usage of the 3D Experience platform. And this is the case for on-premise as well as for cloud solutions. So yes, the answer is yes, it's possible.
Thanks, Martin. I have one more question. Just a minute and three. You mentioned trends in your presentation, such as clean mobility and Dieselgate. I think that was you, Ralph, as transformation drivers for the automotive industry. these are topics of interest for the entire company, assuming that means across divisions. So yes, as head of design, how can I support other divisions? Ralf Hohmann, do you want to take this?
Yes, sure. Thanks, Ella. Yeah, this question is currently engaging many companies. How can a more agile way of working be implemented, or how can synergy effects be better leveraged? And in addition, such business benefits as faster product development or faster time to market. And from my point of view, these topics we mentioned, collaboration, digital twins, simulation, and all of these aspects as design, processes, systems engineering, quality and tolerance management are ways for a company to become more agile and to achieve such results. And from my point of view, the design department can be a good source of inspiration for that.
Thank you. And I think these are all the questions we have. So I just wanted to remind our audience that we are holding our virtual Innovation Day on the 23rd of March in 2021. So I'm sure that you'll be receiving information on this if you're on our mailing list, or you can always find it on our website. The other thing I wanted to mention is we also are making available an opportunity to meet our management with peer-to-peer discussions. So we will be showing in a minute a tool, but everybody who participated in this webinar will receive an email where they can book a slot with any one of the panelists. So you just basically pick the panelist you'd like to have a slot with, and you can book a 30-minute consultation or exchange. And here we're seeing a quick demo of how this works. So feel free. I believe there are slots available from now until the end of November. Different slots depending on people's schedules. But I think there's a lot of slots for each of us. So if you're interested, I think you should not have a problem to be able to find an opportunity. And I think that concludes our presentation. Thank you very much for participating, and we hope to see you at our next event.